Once upon a time, there was a farmer who took care of his crop in the field every day. However, he noticed that the crop was growing very slowly. As a believer in hustle culture, he came up with a plan. The farmer went to the field and carefully pulled out every crop one by one. He thought he was clever because now all crops appeared to be taller. However, the next day, to his surprise, he found out that all crop had withered. This story shows that sometimes the harder we try, the worse it gets. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Yan and I seek wisdom from east to the west. Have you ever found yourself trying to force something happen in your life? Maybe a promotion in your job or someone to like you, or just desperately trying to make something work out the way you want it to be. We've all been there. We live in a society that emphasizes our hustle, our effort, work hard, play hard culture. But this is ruining our life. There's a concept called the mental control paradox, where too much effort causes difficulty in overcoming emotional distress. For example, we all had the experience of choke under pressure, be it in an exam or context or maybe a job interview. You may have spent a long time in preparing for the moment. You remind yourself over and over that you had to do your best. You could feel the intense pressure. All your attention and energy is now channeled into your performance. With great effort and determination, you step forward. But disaster strikes. You blew it. Your brain was completely blank. As the god of rap, and experience one of the most shameful moments in your life. So when we care too much about the outcome, whatever we are doing, we feel tense. We were likely to push ourselves in ways that eventually will obstruct our progress. Even though we are perfectly able to perform the task, now a sense of emergency is involved. Our minds are occupied by the future, the scary image of us failing, or maybe dwell in the past. The self-criticism of I could have done better, I could have prepared more. We are not present. But what if I tell you there is a better way of doing things? There is a philosophy of acting without forcing. It's called Wu Wei. Wu means none, or not, or negation. Wei means action, or making. But I found the best translation is forcing. And so Wu Wei is the principle of not forcing in anything that we do. We know when we watch any performance of an artist, be it a dancer or an actor or a musician, we know immediately when the performance is forced. And we say it is too artificial and it doesn't seem to be natural. Many people think Wu Wei means do nothing in the sense of laziness, always be passive. No. It doesn't mean that. There is a right timing for action. In a Japanese traditional sport, sumo, the best players always know the right timing to use their muscle. That's when the opponent forcefully overextend himself and off balance. You add a little bit muscle into it, you will be able to throw him out of the ring. But only then. You never use muscle at the wrong moment. Shakespeare said it well. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at its flood, leads on to fortune. And so Wu Wei is based on the knowledge of the tide, the drift of things. You can say Wu Wei is the art of sailing rather than the art of rowing. One of the most sayings in Lao Tzu's book, Dao De Jing, goes, superior virtue has no intention to be virtuous, and thus is virtue. Inferior virtue cannot let go of virtuosity and thus is not virtue. So one could say, the real Wu Wei is not intentionally Wu Wei, so is Wu Wei. So inferior Wu Wei so tries to be Wu Wei that it isn't. That's why you shouldn't lock your eyes on the target, because that will be too intentional. But if I don't set my eyes on the target, Where should I focus on then? Here's an interview with Stephen Kotler, the author of The Art of Impossible. Let's see how he answers this question.
People said the same thing. I'm in this altered state of consciousness where every action, every decision I make seems to flow effortlessly, perfectly, seamlessly from the last. Flow actually feels flowy. More specifically, it refers to any of those moments of rapt attention and total absorption. You're so focused on the task at hand, so focused on what you're doing, everything else just seems to disappear. But one of the things that athletes talk about a lot is what they call the voice. Often when I'm skiing in flow, I will get directions, right, left, do this, do that, and it's very quick. You either do what the voice is telling you to do, or you tend to crash.
As you can see, instead of focusing on the result, you should focus on the task on hand. Immerse yourself with the challenge, then you will enter the state which the psychology scholar Mihai described as flow. So flow is often described as a state of effortless effort. We feel like we are propelled through activities. Everything else just seems to disappear. Time is gonna dilate, which is a fancy way of saying it's gonna pass strangely. 4 hours gone by just like in 4 minutes. Occasionally it will slow down, which is called a freeze frame effect. Like in the movie, someone is going through a car crash, for example, and our intuition gets turned up a lot. This is what a basketball player called in the zone. All of a sudden, they are seeing the hoop just as big as a hula, and our front muscle tend to be paralyzed that we look like a robot. This frowning is actually a sign that our brain is doing its work. And flow state is when we peak at our performance. But how do we enter the so-called zone? And the idea here is pretty simple. We pay most attention to our task when the challenge of that task slightly exceeds our skill set. If the task is too hard, our brain is going to tell us to give up and save some energy. If the task you are doing is too easy, our brain does not get engaged and feel bored. So to get good at entering the zone, you need to get good at being comfortable of being uncomfortable. You want to stretch, but not snap. And I guess you can see how things will go from here. Since we feel so good when we're at the flow state, we tend to crave for more. That means now we are willing to expand our comfort zone a little bit. And the next day, you come back and want to do something that is even harder. So each day you are making progress. You are getting better and better. And the most important thing is, you don't feel pain. You actually feel good. Guess what? Since you are constantly improving, you will eventually get that result. Results don't come by repeatedly thinking about them or desiring them fiercely. Result comes through actions. And the more we let ourselves be carried away by the desired result, the less we tend to act in ways that actually contribute to achieve them. To sum it up, if you want to win, don't focus on winning. Focus on the actions that led to winning. And if you're a wisdom seeker like me, please give me a thumb up and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. I'm Fatih, my friend.